Hi, so this video is going to be about psychosis. Firstly, I'd like to say I'm not a health professional. I've had no um, practical training or reading or anything like that. These are just my thoughts based upon my own experiences. Um, so regarding psychosis, there can be many reasons for it. And one thought that came to my mind just out of the blue some months back was that it can even be through an induced coma. And I even had to look that up just to sort of get verification on that. And it was there, black and white, in front of me that, yeah, an induced coma can actually bring about psychosis. But the angle that I'm going through today is regarding schizophrenia and along those lines. And there's a stigma with schizophrenia that is a mental illness, blah 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 blah. But my understanding of it is very much genetic and biological. And to actually call it a mental illness, the first thing that people say with mental illness is that oh, there's something psychologically wrong with them. And we'll sort of like go into that in a second. But first and foremost, as far as I understand it, schizophrenia is genetic, it's biological, and it should be recognised as that. But again, that's my opinion. That's my thoughts on it, and perhaps it's one that we could discuss down in the comments below later. Um, so regarding psychosis, if we take it from a schizophrenia point of view or a genetic point of view, again, as far as I understand it, that can actually affect the actual visual processing of the brain, and that can obviously bring about visual hallucinations. Now, regarding psychosis, my interpretation of psychosis is the psychological effects brought about by the associations, the actual conclusions that we draw from hallucinations, and the actual thoughts around that we buy into. Um, Obviously, if we've seen something that's not there or doesn't make sense, we're going to try and rationalize it, and we're going to try and build conclusions from that so that we can sort of like get it set in our mind. Okay, so what is this? What's the issues around it? And the imagination being what it is, it's going to be different for each person. Um, And as I say, these conclusions that we come to, we can very much buy into, and it becomes our primary focus. And then every thought thereof is just a build upon that conclusion that was brought, that we came to earlier. Um, so I'm going to go off slightly off on a tangent now, because the way I look at it, psychosis. I say it's it can really take us down rabbit holes built around the conclusions that we draw from those hallucinations. And hallucinations is just one slant on this for a second. Um, but regards to going down rabbit holes, there's a need, in my opinion, to be to have foresight and to be aware that our mental health is declining, built solely around these conclusions that we've drawn and the mindset that we've drawn from that. And again, of course, psychosis could take on many different things. We could be have many kind of thoughts around that, and it can take us down many rabbit holes. But I'm just trying to generalize here, and having foresight to see that there's a decline in our mental well-being could be like the foresight then to know that it needs addressing. Back in my late teens, I read a number of books a number of books written by Doris Stokes. Now, for those who don't know Doris Stokes or who Doris Stokes was, she was a famous medium, and she wrote a number of books. And I remember reading in one of her first books, if not the first book, how she, as a child, would hear voices, and those voices would be a negative, and that they would scare her. Um, Obviously, everyone's got their own view on mediumship and afterlife and being able to hear or see those who have passed. But the point I'm trying to make here is that she was receiving negative voices, and they were scaring her. Sorry, and through her guide, as she described, I think it was a him. Through her guide, she was able to start sort of becoming a gatekeeper to those voices. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is regards of gatekeeping, keeping the negative influences away, or recognizing that they are negative influences, and they're taking us down rabbit holes of downward spirals in our mental health, and having the foresight to realize what exactly it is we're doing. We're taking ourselves down rabbit holes built around these assumptions that we've come to, and buying into these thoughts, and it's taking us further and further down into negative thinking, depression, and everything thereof. So, as I say, having the foresight to see that decline in mental health, it can be enough just to snap out of it and sort of wake up and say, "Hang on, does this make sense? What am I doing to myself with these thoughts?" And one way or another, it needs addressing. And in the case of trapped thoughts within ourselves, just speaking to a doctor, a mental health professional, or someone with the right attributes, can get those thoughts out of our heads where they manifest, taking us downward spirals, get them out in the open and get them addressed. And as I say, it comes down to gatekeeping, realizing, where these thoughts are taking us, realizing the negative impacts they're having on us, and doing something about it. I would love to hear your comments and thoughts, etc. So yeah, please leave comments below. That would be really really good. And thank you for watching.